Okay, we're ready to go. Um, sorry. Um, so we decided to do a AI product that detected sarcasm, and because of the data set we chose and found, that ended up being a news headline sarcasm detector. And we'll explain why that had to be later. And up here, I just wanted to point out these are a lot of the languages and packages that we used to make this work.
So yeah, our first step in making a sarcasm was finding our data. So as a team, we researched multiple data sets on sarcasm. And like Avery said, we all decided that our best data set option was from Kaggle, and it's pictured in the background, and it's about news headlines. So after cleaning this data set to include two columns, the first column includes 26,709 different news headlines, and the second column, a corresponding number for each of these headlines, holding a 1 or a 0. A 1 noting that that headline is sarcastic, and a 0 noting the opposite. And this data set was really good to work with, and it was also really balanced, which was good for our model. After cleaning and pre-processing this data into a format we could use to train our model with, the next step was to train it to recognize the patterns in sarcasm and really recognize the differences between sarcastic and non-sarcastic headlines. So our backend team worked towards this goal with two main approaches, which Aakash and Avery will now explain.
So for our first approach, we decided to use a random forest model, which is kind of like an ensemble method. So basically there are a bunch of different algorithms. It would all generate different outputs, and then you'd basically just average the outputs to come up with a final result. So using that with scikit-learn and word2vec, we ended up with an accuracy of 75%. So obviously the model can improve. So how we did this was we changed from sklearn, which is machine learning tech, to Keras, which is deep learning tech, and we transitioned from word2vec to Glove. And Glove, because it had pre-trained data, it contains about 6 billion words actually. It was much faster to train the model as well.
And yeah, so changing to this Keras deep neural network with LSTM, which is just a deep neural network method that makes it work better. And the pre-trained Glove embedding, which instead of just having the word embedding, or like basically the sets of numbers that let the computer understand and find patterns in words, instead of just having that for just the words we gave it, it had it for, you said 6 billion words? I never saw that number. And so we ended up with 82% accuracy, which we were happy with.
So yeah, our final model turned out really well, especially for sarcasm, since sarcasm is something that's quite hard to detect for both models and like just humans as well. But however, this is still just the start, and some of our next steps building off of this is, number one, we want to improve this accuracy rate even more by maybe training our model in different ways, using different methods and finding more data so our model can better understand sarcasm and the way people communicate. And secondly, we want to expand this detection from just news headlines to everyday human conversations as well.
Before we move on, I want to say, be thinking, I'm going to ask some people in the audience. I'm going to ask for, you can just kind of make them up off the top of your head, some headlines, perhaps some sarcastic, some genuine, for this testing to see if the AI thinks it's AI or thinks it's sarcastic or not.
So this right here is actually our official website. It's titled Sarcastic News Headline Detector. And as we scroll down, we will actually have an opportunity to try out this product ourselves. So just mention a headline and we'll detect whether or not it's sarcastic.
You can either just unmute yourself and tell me it, or put it in the chat.
EA removes all microtransactions from their games.
So this headline here is sarcastic, as you can see.
EA removes all microtransactions. I mean, it has a really hard time detecting if it seems like it's a legit, if it's not like written sarcastically if it doesn't know the context of the fact that EA uses a lot of microtransactions. This seems like a genuine headline. And it doesn't think this is sarcastic either. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect. It has.
Quick question: are any from New Jersey or New York? Not to stereotype people from that area. Just curious.
In this group?
Yes.
Don't we have some New Yorkers?
Jessie? Okay. So I grew up in New Jersey. I never realized that was sarcastic until I moved out to California. I think this is a good indicator for people for self-reflection to see whether they're not sarcastic or not.
Oh, so that is sarcastic.
Yeah, it'll get it right a lot of the time, but not all the time.
So
we'll just do this one last one and then we can move on.
right.
And a lot of you, there's a lot of suggestions. I'll put the link to our site so you guys can test it out yourself too.
Okay, so scrolling down, we actually have our overview, which explains why we decided to come up with a sarcasm detector. Nowadays, we're having a lot of headlines out there, and it's really hard to detect whether or not the headline is serious or if it's sarcastic. So whether you're using this device for school or any personal projects, to avoid confusion or complication, you can simply use this device to help you for your own benefit. But of course, this product is only a proof of concept and it can only go so far with AI technology.
So welcome again to Team Wellesley and welcome to our Meet the Team page. We are a group of 5 teenagers and TA with the goal of creating an influential AI product. So on this part of the page, you can meet each of our members as well as see how each of our members contribute to the product. If you would like to learn about a little bit more about us, you can just see where we're from, what we like to do on our free times, as well as our what's important to us and our LinkedIn. As you scroll down from here, you come to the second part of the Meet the Team page, the development process. So I think my team did a great job explaining what the backend team was doing. So while the backend team was getting the data and processing the data, as well as implementing the model, the front-end team was developing the website, which we use nice pages, and changes was made on a daily basis to accommodate what each member wants to make, because where we started off and where we ended, it was very different in that process. And we deployed the website when we're done with both the front and back end. With that, we come to the last part of our website, AI Camp. When you click on the AI Camp part, you can see our faces. And right under that, we just want to have people who want to learn more about AI or computer science, or just want to build an AI product like the ones we built today, have a place to start. So if they click on the green AI Camp logo on top left-hand corner, it takes us to the main AI Camp page. And the blue here, it also takes us to the main AI Camp page. Just so anyone in the audience, if you would like to learn more about AI, this is a great place to start.
Well, before we stop, I'd like to thank my group for being a great group and Terrence for being a great instructor.